Ugh, another pounding headache. It feels like my head is about to explode.
Keith, a man who wouldn't say boo to a goose, clutched his head. He was a quiet soul, always keeping to himself, never causing any trouble.
I just need a cup of coffee and some peace. Maybe that will help clear my mind and ease this pain.
He was at the Big Sip, a truck stop with more neon than Vegas. The lights were almost blinding, but it was a familiar place for Keith. Keith rummaged through his bag for his trusty headache powder. He always kept it close, knowing how often these headaches struck. Little did he know April Fool's Day had come early for Keith. The date on the calendar was a stark reminder of the pranks that lay ahead. A stranger, let's call him Chuckles, watched from the shadows. He had been planning this for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. Chuckles was a firm believer in practical jokes. He lived for the thrill of seeing someone's reaction to his antics. He'd slipped something extra into Keith's powder. A little surprise that would turn an ordinary day into something extraordinary. Something that would make this April Fool's Day unforgettable. Chuckles couldn't wait to see the look on Keith's face, or maybe just completely forgettable. For Keith, anyway, the effects of the powder would soon take hold. Chuckles chuckled because that's what Chuckles did. He reveled in the chaos he created, always ready for the next prank.
This ain't right.
Keith stirred the powder into his coffee, oblivious to the ticking time bomb he'd just created. He took a big gulp. The headache, stubborn as a mule, refused to budge. But something else was brewing. A tingling sensation spread through Keith's entire body. His heart hammered against his ribs like a heavy metal drummer on a caffeine bender. Keith's usual pallor turned a rather alarming shade of crimson. He started to sweat, profusely, like he was starring in a deodorant commercial gone wrong. The cocaine was kicking in, and it was about to get really wild. The break room buzzed with the usual truck stop chatter. The air was thick with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the faint scent of diesel fuel that seemed to cling to everyone's clothes. Conversations ranged from last night's game to the latest gossip about the new manager. Suddenly Keith leaped onto a table, scattering coffee cups and donuts in every direction. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to him as he stood there, a wild look in his eyes.
I am the king of the world.
He ripped open his shirt, revealing a surprisingly toned physique for a man who lived on coffee and beef jerky. The room gasped in unison, unable to believe what they were seeing. He then proceeded to perform an interpretive dance that seemed to be a cross between the twist and a seizure. It was something. People exchanged bewildered glances, unsure whether to laugh or call for help. The human resources manager, a woman whose hairstyle could only be described as aerodynamic, made the mistake of approaching Keith. She had seen many things in her career, but this was a first.
Keith, you need to calm down. This is not appropriate behavior for the workplace.
He grabbed her, planted a big, sweaty kiss on her shiny head and yelled. The room was in shock, unsure of what would happen next.
You're fired! The words echoed through the break room, leaving everyone stunned.
This was not in the employee handbook. The employees stood there, mouths agape, wondering if they had just witnessed the end of Keith's reign or the beginning of something even more chaotic. The parking lot became Keith's personal jungle gym. He was a man on a mission, though what that mission was, no one could tell. His antics were a mix of athleticism and sheer madness, drawing the attention of everyone around. He scrambled onto a trailer, laughing maniacally. His laughter echoed through the night, a haunting sound that sent shivers down the spines of those watching. It was as if he had found some hidden joy in the chaos he was creating. He jumped from one trailer to another, a caffeine-fueled Spider-Man in a trucker hat. Each leap was more daring than the last, and the crowd couldn't help but watch in a mix of horror and fascination. The truckers, initially amused, now feared for their rigs and their sanity. Someone called the cops. The situation was spiraling out of control, and they knew it was only a matter of time before something went terribly wrong. The police arrived to find a scene of utter chaos. Flashing lights and sirens filled the air, adding to the already overwhelming sense of pandemonium. Officers quickly assessed the situation, trying to figure out how to bring Keith's rampage to an end. "Sir, put down the sink and step away." The officer's voice was firm, but there was a hint of disbelief. How had it come to this? A man wielding a sink in a parking lot, defying all logic and reason.
You can't handle the truth, Keith shouted, his voice filled with a strange mix of defiance and desperation. It was clear he was in his own world, far removed from the reality around him.
After a brief but intense struggle involving a taser and several very tired police officers, Keith was subdued. The officers exchanged weary glances, knowing this was a night they wouldn't soon forget. He was last seen being bundled into a squad car, still babbling about being king. His words were incoherent, but the conviction in his voice was unmistakable. Through the bars of his cell, Keith picked up the phone and dialed. His hands were shaking, but there was a determined look in his eyes.
Yeah, is this Walgreens? Listen, I need some aspirin, and I need it now. His voice trailed off as if he was finally coming to terms with the reality of his situation.
The night was young, but Keith's adventure had just begun. The truck stop, now quiet, seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter in Keith's wild journey.